But yeah, what's up, Curiosity Crew? Today we are going to be talking about my 1-year ownership update with my 1997 Toyota Century. It's got the V12 in it. I'm mostly going to be keeping it focused on the expenses that have accompanied this car for like repairs and stuff, because with it being from 97, it's definitely needed a little bit of work. But probably not as bad as you may think. So being completely honest, it's not a perfect 1-year update. It's about a month and a half off, 2 months off. I did buy it in December of 2025, and now it is February of 2026. But yes, when I bought it in December of 2025, I had flown out to Washington, D.C. to meet up with another car enthusiast and Century owner named Martin, coincidentally. And at that time, it only had 198,000 kilometers on it. Now it has about 209,000 kilometers on it. And yeah, I road tripped it all the way back to Colorado from Washington, D.C. without any issues, thankfully. It really only had and still has one modification to it, and that is that it's on teen coilovers, like some kind of upper echelon teen, from what I understand. It's not like the Street Bases Z. And these ride extremely nice. Way better than I thought they were going to be. But yes, those did replace the OEM air suspension, which is known for being particularly finicky, and nobody really knows how to work on them, and they're kind of unreliable. So I'm glad that I have these right now. And plus they give it a little bit more of a lowered look, which is fantastic. But yeah, driving it for the last year or so, I have really only had a great experience with it. The repairs were a little annoying. We'll get into that here shortly. But it's just a fantastic drive, super comfortable. The exterior is absolutely gorgeous, and the paint condition on these, generally speaking, seems to hold up extremely well. I do love how much of a conversation starter this car is. It's like I can't really walk into anywhere without somebody asking me about what it is or how did I get it. From that sense, it's very entertaining to own, and it gets a lot of car enthusiasts as well as non-car enthusiasts interested and chatting about it. So it brings smiles to people's faces, especially my own, and that's a huge win. Let's start getting into the repairs I've had to do for this. I'll talk about this in a future video that I post about the 7 or 8 things, whatever that number ends up being, that I don't like about the car. But the repairs, you just have to wait sometimes for parts to get imported from Japan, and that can be kind of a pain. But yes, our first issue with this car popped up about 2 months into ownership. Like I said, it made it back to Colorado without any issues, but about 2 months in, it started kind of having an interesting smell, like a burning smell going on. And at first I was like, I don't know, it's an older car, and it wasn't like a super intense smell by any means. And then every once in a while, I would start seeing a little bit of smoke. Kind of from the front wheel areas. At least that's when I would actually catch it. And I was like, it's cold out, it's probably just exhaust or something like that. But turns out that was a bigger issue, because my valve cover gaskets were failing. That was all kind of falling on the alternator area, and it ended up shorting out my alternator, which was not the best experience. I was actually driving it to go and get a special form for emissions, and it went into limp mode that day, and just wasn't idling correct at all, had a lot of trouble starting up. I actually had to pull it off to the side of a high school, and in like a drop-off area, and had to call a tow truck. So it got towed to Adler Automotive, and essentially they found out, your valve cover gaskets failed, and that my alternator needed to be replaced. So they did that, and it took a long time. I don't even remember how long it was in the shop for, but that ended up costing $5,000, and $66. At that same time, I learned that my catalytic converters were failing. They still are failing, and the car does have a bit of a stank to it. But I have gotten some suggestions in the comments about some crossover catalytic converters, so I might give that a try to replace in the future. But for now, we're rolling with the bad catalytic converters. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the original purchase price of this, $15,000, which I still think was a very good deal. And in fact, I would say if you're a fan of JDM cars and you just want something that's super unique and super comfortable and very practical, to be honest, I would highly recommend that you look at these, because they are incredibly awesome. But yes, back to the catalytic converter statement. I did do a lot of research to see if you could put like a universal carb one in here, and I guess it just doesn't fit for some reason. There was even the thought of doing an entirely custom-made catalytic converter, but where I'm at in Denver, they were like, nope, we don't like any of that. It needs to be as OEM as possible. That's why I still have bad catalytic converters. I'm sure that'll be a pricey thing in the future. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking at one of these. Getting emissions passed can be challenging, especially if you're in a state that is a bit of a biatch about it, or a county for that matter. Especially when your VIN is not a standard set of numbers, like it doesn't meet their normal characters. A lot of emissions will freak out about that too. But yeah, after all of the emission troubles and figuring that out, plus getting the valve cover gasket and the alternator, I think it was around June or July, and immediately I changed the front brakes in this because the rotors were older and the brake pads were getting pretty thin. So I swapped them out for the 1997 LS400 brakes, and they fit on without any issues. The rotors themselves, they were about 120, and then the pads were $76. So that wasn't too bad. I will say those rotors feel like they are made for a truck. They're huge, very heavy. I then changed the oil and oil filter around that exact same time. The filter is huge, and the cost of it was $21, and it holds 8.9 quarts, so that was about another $60. Around October, I knew that my serpentine belt was showing signs of age and kind of having some of those cracks in it. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to replace that myself as well. I got on a pretty good roll of doing the brakes, the oil, and then the serpentine belt. So I did that. That was only $12. Really nice universal, or not universal part, but commonly available belt, which was very nice. Finally, around December of 2025, I noticed a pretty severe leak underneath my car, and I just kind of thought it was going to be the worst thing possible, which would be like engine oil. But nope, it was actually power steering fluid. So I took it into Euro Plus this time, and they confirmed that, and that my power steering pump needed to be replaced, and of course that was one from Japan. So they replaced all of the seals and gaskets, plus the pump itself, and the total for that wasn't actually too bad. It was only $1,067. I also had them do the outer tie rod ends and an alignment for $842. I also had them do a fan fluid service and flush at $231, and then a transmission fluid flush at $311. So that brings us to the question of what is next for this car? Like, what's left? Well, for one, I don't think I'm gonna modify it. I don't think I'm gonna do the Divine Media route where I do the 3-piece wheels with the air suspension. I think it looks really cool, but I just really like the way that this car rides right now, and I don't want to mess that up. I don't want to add any more complexities to it. Already it gets a lot of praise for looking great, so I'm like, I think I'm good. But we'll see if I change that in the future. As far as maintenance items go, it does need new spark plugs, and I plan on DIYing that, so I'll be doing a video on that. It's not like it's in dire need of spark plugs, but it's just another item that it's like, yeah, we should probably replace all 12 of those. And then it does need a brake fluid flush as well as a coolant flush in the near future. And then the last thing is, it does need a new battery. This battery is definitely on its way out, so it'll be good to get a new one in there. I've had to keep it on the battery tender a ton lately, and it's just kind of a pain to keep doing that, where I park it in the garage, open up the trunk, and remove the battery cover, put the tender on. But I mean, even with that tender, man, you can tell it's not super happy when it starts. Sounds like it's struggling a bit. So, oh yeah, and one thing that kind of has me terrified, Euro Plus, they said that, and I might have just heard this incorrectly because I feel like there's no way it's true. They said that Toyota Japan would have to do the timing chain, which I'm like, there's no way, man. Like, timing chains are kind of all pretty straightforward. I mean, like, I've never done one, and I probably will never do one. But, like, there's got to be a way that you can just open up the engine, replace the chain here, and not have to worry about it. Now, finding the chain itself, that might be a little challenging. But I don't think I'm going to need to ship this all the way into Japan for a timing chain. I would sooner probably put a different engine in this car if that was the case. But yeah, this video is not meant to scare you off of ownership or anything like that. It's just meant to tell you, like, hey, you're dealing with an older car now, and these are generally very well taken care of. So I think they're going to be in better shape than you think when you buy one. And even then, like, the total maintenance on this, I think, has been less than $10,000. So all in to the car, we're probably around 24, 25. I'll double check my math and put it up on the screen. But yeah, I mean, for a car being this old, it's held up extremely well, and I think it's worth every penny, especially with it being Toyota. And I think this car is going to be lasting for quite a long time, given that this is very mechanically baselined at this point. I don't think we're going to have any other surprises on our hands, really. But yeah, 1 year of ownership down in the Toyota Century, and I think we're going to have plenty more to come. Excited to continue sharing this car with you guys. I will be releasing 2 other videos in the next few months or so. One will be the 6 or 4, however many things I like about the car, and then a similar video talking about the things that I don't like about the car. I feel like after a year of driving, I can give you an update on that, get a little bit more specific compared to the daily driver video. Oh my god! This right here is the look of somebody who might be kinda dumb. After I got done filming the 1 year ownership update on the Toyota Century, and I mentioned, it needs a new battery. That happened. I tackled it, I think, like 2 days later. Just ripped out the old one, get the new one in, and well, I'll show you what it's doing right now. It's funny because, like, everything turns on, lights are fine, nice and bright, nothing wrong there. When I go to start it, listen. See? Angry. So I found myself, like, panicking, thinking, oh my god, did I short something out? Like, I've done battery installs a whole bunch before. You know, I understand how to be safe around them. But I was like, oh my god, maybe I, like, shorted out a fuse, checked all my fuses. No problem. Like, maybe it's the wrong battery. Battery seems fine. Battery is is strong. You know, there's plenty of voltage going through there, so it's not like it's a dead new battery, thank God. And I was like, oh my God, maybe it's the starter. So I started looking up how to do starter on the Toyota Century, and there's, like, of course, no documentation on how to do that. So it would be a little bit of exploratory options, but I did find the part at least. It was like $1,000 from Japan, of course. But I started looking into it more, started messing around with the battery some more, you know, figured out how to tighten the terminals a little bit more, and still no luck. And then I'm looking around today, and I'm like, yep, everything looks good, tightened down, and then I notice, what this doing here? And you wanna guess where that goes? That goes in there, in that bolt right there. So we're gonna reconnect this, and hopefully it starts. I think that's going to do it for this video, guys. I appreciate you watching, and I upload every single Sunday, so I will see you in the next one.